Well, the Detroit Lions preseason is officially over, and we've come to that time of year where guys are going to start getting cut. And Dan Campbell said it the best, man. It's going to be some good guys that's getting cut this year. And for the first time since him and Brad Holmes have taken over, it's going to be different this year. This is going to be the toughest decisions that they've had to make. And I am super excited. I don't think I've ever been more excited about 53-man roster cuts, the development of the practice squad and things like that. When it's all said and done, 53 players on the active roster, 16 on the practice squad, and 21 individuals will have to find new teams in one way or the other. So just to give you a clue of what to expect, man, Antoine Green was cut a few weeks ago, has not been claimed off waivers by anyone. Could he come back to the Detroit Lions? It's possible. He could, but we're cutting draft picks now. And I completely expect for some guys that we might have kind of become accustomed to being part of this team under Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. We'll have to find new teams. But what we're going to do now, we are going to go over Pride of Detroit's final 53-man roster, and I'm going to interject my thoughts in here, and essentially this will be mine as well, courtesy of their list. So I'll let you know what changes, what I agree with, what I disagree with, and then I'll give you my final verdict as to what the 53-man roster will be. Now, the cuts all happen at the same time now, meaning it's one cut by 4 p.m. Tuesday the 27th. There will be smaller cuts probably made in the meantime that when those are out, we will definitely be reporting on those when they happen. But by 4 o'clock Tuesday is when everything needs to be said and done. Now, the Lions are super slow with this. Last year, we didn't get this list until, I want to say, hours after 4 o'clock had passed. But it was already done, but we just didn't know. So without further ado, man, let's look at Pride of Detroit's final 53-man roster, and I'll give you my thoughts. I think it's going to be some good stuff here. All right, quarterback. Let me see what we got here. We are going to, these ads are absolutely ridiculous. Quarterback, we're keeping 3. Wow. Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, and Nate Sudfeld. Listen, I say this. The Pride of Detroit guys, they are awesome. They do great work. But sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I think the perspective that YouTubers can bring that are not necessarily affiliated with the team is fresh. Because we had a very small sample size of Jake Fromm yesterday. He played with 8 minutes left, and in that 8 minutes, he looked light years better than Nate Sudfeld. I'm going to say I agree that they keep 3 simply because Hendon Hooker is not ready, but will they keep Nate Sudfeld? It'd be a travesty. It will be, because Nate Sudfeld does not belong in an NFL roster. He needs to be put on somebody's
in the UFL.
And you know why? Because
Nate Sudfeld is trash.
My soundboard was giving me a hard time. So I'm going to say I disagree with this. I think in the small sample size, it's pretty pathetic when you have a dude that played 8 minutes and he's already better than a guy that's been on our team for 2 years. So I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say if we keep Nate, why? There's no point. He's probably not going to see the field anyway. And if I trust Fromm with a small sample size over Nate Sudfeld. Anyway, let's move past this. Running backs, we keep 4. Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery, Craig Reynolds, Sione Vaki. I agree with this 100%. Just these guys, Jamar Jefferson, it's just time for him to move on. Zonovan Knight had a great showing. Jake Funk had a great showing. And these are good guys, man, good running backs. And we'll talk about the practice squad later. But I think as far as Jamar, it's just time to move on. And I think this is a hard list to penetrate. Like, you're not going to, these guys are untouchable. This guy shows his worth constantly. He's like the new version of Miles Killebrew, for those of you who remember that guy, just found a way to be on this team. And Craig continues to be that guy. And Vaki, you cannot dismiss him under no circumstance. We've seen what he can do. So this is just one of them situations where it's just unfortunate. Too many people, too many good players, man. So somebody has to take a back seat. Let's go down to wide receiver. Well, would you look at this? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Khalif Raymond, and Isaiah Williams. We finally agree on someone with Donovan Peoples-Jones, Darius Fountain, Maurice Alexander, Caden Davis, Tom Kennedy, and Jalen Calhoun not making the cut. Now, this is pretty is pretty sad. Let me do this real quick because I wanna I'm about to hey, we back, baby. In season Derek is here. All right. If Donovan Peoples right now, Donovan Peoples-Jones is trending not making the team. If he doesn't make the team, that was a fail. And if he does not make the team, shout out to somebody in the comment section who reminded me that Denzel Mims was traded to the Detroit Lions, albeit it was a conditional trade, so the Lions wind up not losing anything. But if Donovan Peoples-Jones does not make this team, that will be 3 wide receivers that Brad Holmes has traded for that didn't make this team. And you wonder why I popped an absolute gasket at the trade deadline when we were making a Super Bowl push and a pass rusher would have helped us get there, but we traded for a wide receiver that may not make the team. L on Brad Holmes. Like I said, bubbles and rainbows is over, man. We trying to win Super Bowls, and you can find anyone else to watch except me. I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. It's new people coming up in this space. Some steal directly from me. And they will feed you bubbles and rainbows. All right. Go and watch them because I'm not the one. We here, baby. We are back. Now, where were we? Let's go back to this. It's a shame. Caden Davis. All of these guys did better than this guy here. Fountain, MIA yesterday. Maurice Alexander, Calhoun, Tom Kennedy, and Jaden Davis all performed better than this guy here. Fail. If we keep 4 wide receivers, then that means we're keeping somebody on the back end in a different roster spot, or we are going to fill this void by somebody who's not on this team. That's what I think. Love these guys. I love these guys. I love Caden Davis. I wish he had a chance to make the team, but I think it's going to be somebody else from a different team that gets cut, and we're going to have to look their way. All right, let's keep it moving. Tight ends, we keep 4. Sam Laporta, Brock Wright, Shane Zylstra, and Parker Hess. James Mitchell and Sean McKeon doesn't make the team. So right now, we're at 2 draft picks that doesn't make the team. There's 2 draft picks with James Mitchell and the other one with Jamar Jefferson that's not making the team. So Parker Hess kind of came out of nowhere. I think he was like a defensive player or something like that converted to tight end. I think the Detroit Lions only keep 3, but if they do keep 4, then I don't think James Mitchell is in there. So I would probably say 3 tight ends and 5 wide receivers. I'm going to go there now, at least the initial 53-man roster. The offensive line, Taylor Decker, Panay Sewell, Dan Skipper, Kobe Sorsdahl, Giovanni Manu. These guys down here are project guys. Dan Skipper, I'm excited about this because I do not believe that Dan Skipper has ever made our 53-man roster. I think he started off on the practice squad. Just think about this. Last year, this time, Dan Skipper, he had been on our team before, but he was not with our team. He was on the Indianapolis Colts. We wind up poaching him, or either they cut him and we signed him. And Dan Skipper, man, he's exactly what we need him to be. This would be a great thing for him to kind of make that journey, man, and wind up on a starting roster. So shout out to Dan Skipper, man. I think he proved his worth last year. Interior offensive line, Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow, Kevin Zeitler, Coyote Owasika, with the other guys getting cut. I could see that as well. Christian Mahogany would be on the non-football injury list. All right, defensive tackle. Here's where it get good. Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, Levi Onwuzurike, Kyle Pecco, Broderick Martin, who was injured yesterday. We got to find out more about that. And Mekhi Wingo with Chris Smith, who had a decent play. I think he got a strip sack fumble yesterday, not making the team. Again, 16 of these guys will be put on the practice squad. I think this is a decent list. I don't disagree with anything here. Defensive end, here's where we get good. Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, and this guy right here. This is where, again, I think the bias from the Pride of Detroit guys come in. And again, no disrespect to them guys. What has this guy done, bro? I watched him yesterday. He did get a sack, but to me, he's got way less moves than a Matthew Betts. He's got less power than Matthew Betts. Matthew Betts is a stronger individual. So you mean to tell me because of what? James Houston's potential, we're going to disregard Ukwu, Agude, Betts? Come on, man. So I disagree with this. I think one of these guys move up. I think this is going to be one of the hardest decisions that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have to make. I myself would love to see Matthew Betts in there, but I could also see Isaac Ukwu who, again, don't forget, if he doesn't make an NFL roster, he goes to the UFL in the spring. I think this guy makes a 53-man roster, even if it's not Detroit. It would be a travesty. To me, this guy here is the equivalent of Donovan Peoples-Jones. I do not apologize for my opinion. I watched him yesterday. I was focusing on him and Betts one after another. And they both made plays. I think they both got a sack. But overall, I like Matthew Betts better. I just think he's stronger. I think he's more diverse. And I think that it would be a travesty if this guy makes the team. I'm not going to apologize. I'm not, man. So I disagree with that. But the rest of the list looks like it will be just like that. Linebacker, this right here is, I think, the number 6. Wow. Okay, so Ben Neiman has all of a sudden made the 53-man roster. These guys here were pretty secure. This guy here, I don't know, man. Ty Summers, that's going to be, Lions just signed this guy to a 1-year deal. Obviously means pretty much nothing. I don't know. Neiman, they both made plays. Ty, I don't know, man. Ty came in late. This guy's only been with the team for like a week and a half and was making plays. So again, we got practice squad spaces. I don't know. This is going to be a tough call between these two, Ben Neiman and Ty Summers. But I do agree with these guys. Bo Plan, did the best he could, but I don't think he makes the team. Cornerbacks, we got Carlton Davis III, Terrion Arnold, Amik Robertson, Ennis Rakestraw, Khalil Dorsey, and Vildor with Stephen Gilmore, Bassie, Javelin, and Wild Goose, who made a decent play yesterday, not making the team. I don't know. This is a tough call between these two. I think Kendall probably played better. He played better. Yesterday was making some plays. So I think he did more than Gilmore, and I think that Stephen Gilmore kind of experiment is over. He'll probably go back to the practice squad, or maybe he'll be like Starlin Thomas IV last year, who was he got snatched and taken to, I think we waived him, and then he went to the Arizona Cardinals actual team, I believe it was. So I agree with this, even though Kendall Vildor, I think we could probably do better. Safeties, Brandon Joseph, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Ife Melifonwu, and Brandon Joseph. I am not a fan of Brandon Joseph. I don't think he's decent on special teams as far as a 53-man roster, though. And whoa. And they're cutting CJ Moore. This is not going to happen. I would be surprised if they kept this guy over Brandon Joseph. You don't bring a guy back after a gambling suspension to not make the team. They valued this guy enough to make the team. When they brought this guy back, he was never meant to cover. He was meant to be on special teams. And we know how Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes love special teams. This is a toss-up. So I don't think either one of these guys are particularly better than the other, but I think CJ Moore has more special team value. So I'm going to say CJ Moore makes the 53-man roster over Brandon Joseph, but the rest I agree with. Brandon Joseph, don't forget, is a practice squad dude. So 16 of these guys, it's not the end of the world for these guys. Some of them can go to the practice squad. Okay, we're almost done. Special teams, Jack Fox, Jake Bates, and Scott Daly. I think that is exactly how it's going to be. I know some people had Hogan Hatton making the team over Scott Daly, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Hogan was something else. I might be confusing him with someone else, that he was a different position and then converted to a long snapper. We got chemistry with these two guys here with Scott Daly and Jack Fox. Let's just, these two guys are how field goal kicks happen and extra points happen. So let's just keep that chemistry together. I'm sorry, these two guys, and Jake Bates, who was a little shaky yesterday, missed one extra. It's like he missed a field goal either a field goal or extra point every single game. So that is the Detroit Lions 53-man roster. I agree with the majority of it, but it's just some stuff that, again, this James Houston thing is just ridiculous to me. It really is. We keep going with 2022. 2022 is over. The Lions started 1-6. We fired Aubrey Pleasant. We wind up going 8-2 down the stretch. 2022 is over. We were still wearing masks in 2022. It's over, man. It's what have you done for me lately? And overall, I think Matthew Betts has the higher ceiling. I think he's stronger. I think he's more diverse. And I'm just, quite frankly, man, some play on the field, it just looks like James doesn't want it like he used to. That's just my opinion. So let me know your thoughts. I think for the most part, they pretty much lined up together. But I have a hard time seeing how the Lions don't bring back CJ Moore and they keep a guy like Brandon Joseph who will make a play. But again, these are neither one of these guys are covered safeties. If you had to probably pick one, Brandon is better, but they value special teams. Ben Neiman, Ty Summers, that's going to be, like I said, I see a lot of these guys going on the practice squad. And of course, we will be talking about the practice squad after that. So let me know your thoughts on not only Pride of Detroit's 53-man roster, but do you think, would you change, what would you change? Do you agree, disagree with any of my takes or assessments? And what would you change or keep the same? Now, I just got to say this, man. I saw a guy today and that it was a random video that popped in my feed. I'm not even going to say this dude's name, but he's a sports channel and he wears a mask, and he gave a take about our team. And that's what caught my attention, that we were basically frauds and we weren't going to amount to anything and blah, blah, blah. And I thought of how pathetic it was for him to wear a mask. Like, you don't want to show who you are because of backlash, because of your ridiculous takes. And it's okay. You could have at least been behind the camera. I think I would have respected that a little bit better. But if you got something to say about my team, bro, take the mask off. I've taken off my mask. Let's see if you can take off yours. So the reason I brought that up is because it's not always easy to be in front of a camera and give opinions that people hate, right? Go ask Reddit. But I would much rather be this guy here that y'all love to hate than a guy that's cowering behind a mask. What are you, Batman? And Batman is so anyway. I just thought about that, man. Like, dudes, what are we doing, right? You want to talk about my team, but you don't want to. So I'm willing to do that, and I'm willing to tell you the hard stuff. Like I said, Brad Holmes is his track record. Let's not forget about Trinity Benson. So I forgot about Trinity Benson. So that will be 4 wide receivers or 3. Trinity Benson, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Denzel Mims. Now, Denzel, you can kind of remove him if you want, because that wind up equaling nothing. It was a conditional pick. He had to make the team, right? So anyway, this video is going on too long. Consider subscribing to the channel. Ring that notification bell as well. We're going to have up-to-date content, man, about who's cut when the practice squad starts to develop, and we might even get that stuff as early as today. I doubt it, though, but we might have a few cuts. So you guys are awesome. This channel is brought to you by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. Again, I've taken off my mask. I never wore one. Let's see if you can take off yours.